Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I want to talk to you about something pretty important that you need to factor in, particularly for those of y'all if y'all looking at moving to Mexico, because this can hit your pocket pretty bad. And as time go by, it can actually get worse for you. So this is something that most folks tend not to talk about. You hear people talk about, oh, how many pesos they can get with their dollar and all of that stuff, but hey, let me put this in real perspective for you. So my rent on the house that I'm currently in Monte de Amay, I'm in another place right now recording this. I was paying 12,500 pesos. So on the day I signed my lease, so here's the deal. When I first moved in, when I first got to Mexico, for every $1 US dollar I spent, I got 21 pesos, 21 Mexican pesos, which means I could buy quite a bit with that $1. That $1 would get me quite a bit of stuff, 21 pesos. Friends of mine were talking about how before I arrived, a couple of years prior, how they were getting 24 and 25 Mexican pesos for our $1 US dollar. So for every $1 US dollar, they were getting 25 pesos. And she was like, Cartez, I thought I was rich. That means when you getting 25 pesos for the dollar and you looking for some rental houses, man, that rent gonna be low, real low in terms of American dollars coming out your bank account. So, but 2 years later, I arrived. That 25 pesos she was getting for that $1, she's now getting 21 pesos. So when I moved into my rental, the second one, based on the numbers, the rent was gonna be about $625. But on the day I signed my lease, the dollar was strong, which means I got a whole lot more pesos for my dollar. I can't remember the numbers, but my rent on that day was like 500. Instead of it being $625, based on the calculation, it was actually $589. But of course, weeks later, months later, that value, it fluctuated. The dollar kept going up and down and up and all of that. So there'd be some days I get 19 pesos for that same dollar instead of the 21. So now my rent is going back and forth, fluctuating. So my rent, instead of paying $589, now I'm paying $625 for that rent. Fast forward to where we are now, 2 years later, we're getting about 17 pesos and some change about for every dollar. So that dollar, for my US dollar, I'm now getting 17 and a half pesos, or 17.20 pesos. In perspective, that means instead of paying $625 for the rent, which I was then happier at $589 a month, then satisfied at $625. Now I'm paying $700 and some odd dollars a month for the rent. The 12,500 pesos is the rent. It remained the same, but it cost me more money in US dollars because the value of the dollar is weak. So I'm no longer paying $625. I've been paying over $700 a month for my rent, where it initially started out at $589 since $625, now $700. Now I'm warning you because they project, reading some articles and stuff and some stuff online, they project by 2025, which ain't that much longer from now, they projecting that you're gonna get 15 pesos for every $1 US dollar. $1 will get you 15 pesos, and these guys have been pretty accurate on the calculations historically, which means that rent, I don't have a calculator in front of me, that same rent, God knows I don't have that calculator. Likely jump up to about damn near $800. It would I be paying in US dollars. You know what I mean? And if my math is drastically off, I'm just explaining to you what's going on with the math so you can plan accordingly. So my point is saying all of this. When you're looking at some rental houses and you're trying to budget, don't make any assumptions based on today's exchange rate. It's likely going to continue to go down. The US dollar going to continue to go down. you're gonna get less pesos, which means you're gonna spend more US dollars for the same stuff. You know what I mean? So, for example, a friend of mine, I'm looking at some houses right now. Have been looking at houses, I should say. And my budget, I was like, okay, my budget, I don't want to go over 12,500 pesos for my rent. Now that I know what the projections are going to be 2 years from now, now I'm like, man, I might need to go a little further, go move further out so I can get more house and bring my budget down. So if things do get down to $15, 15 pesos for every dollar, I'm not going to be upside down. It's not going to affect me much. So instead of saying I want my budget to be 12,500 pesos, I might get down. I might say, man, my budget, my max is 10,000 pesos. You know what I mean? And so just to see what 10,000 pesos is today, and this number ain't gonna be accurate. It's an estimated calculator. 10,000 pesos to USD. So 10,000 pesos, it means rent be about $561. Back then, that'd be about $495. So it's about $65, $70 extra per month that I'm paying the rent. $70 a month times 12 is essentially an extra $1,000 in rent. Now, when that number dropped down some more, that 561, that 10,000, that 561 will probably jump up to about, I don't know, 650 maybe. So that 10,000, so 561 today is what I would pay for 10,000 pesos. When it drops down to $15, it might be, I don't know, $650. So saying this, it might be $700 depending on where it's at. Be mindful of what you set your budget at, and understand that as time go by, as the way this economy in the United States is it's gonna get worse. However, on the opposite end, if it shoots back up, oh, you're gonna be doing very well. You're gonna be saving a whole lot of money, because when that thing fluctuate, I pay less rent in US dollars. But right now, it ain't looking good. Don't look to be any good anytime soon. So factor that in. So if your budget don't say my budget is 500 a month. Don't try and figure out what your budget gonna be in pesos. You know what I mean? Don't get caught up in US numbers. $500 a month. That might be your budget. Let's say my budget was 500. Let's say my budget was 589 2 years ago. Well, now I'm at 707, and I need to go lower. So for me, my new number is 10,000, maybe 11,000, considering what's coming ahead. Yeah, can you find a good house for that for 10,000? Absolutely. Now, you may have to go further out. You may have to live outside these tourist zones and whatnot, but you can find it. And also keep in mind, the house ain't gonna be all fancy, and you ain't gonna have all the bells and whistles like you do with your other place, back in the States. But like I said, here, it's different here. So just wanted you to be mindful of that. Plan ahead. The dollar is getting weaker and it's continuing to go down. Just read an article today. Mexico's mighty peso hit 7-year record high against the US dollar. Mexico's peso currency flexed its muscle on Monday to reach its highest against the US dollar in 7 years, following nearly 2 years of interest rate hikes aimed at taming inflation that has seen consumer prices is down. So, start planning. It's about to get worse. Whatever your budget is, lower it even more if you're planning to be living on that here in the States. Don't be trying to get a $500 a month spot, as your budget if you're already at your limit. Go lower. Whatever your numbers are, go lower, because what you're paying $500 a month today, either to be paying $650 a year or two from now. It can change that quick. So just something to be mindful of when you plan. Don't plan right on the edge. Go deeper. You know what I mean? So that's all I want to say. Hey, if you're not a member of our VIP members group, go to the website, moveabroadandthrive.com. Join our members group, VIP member group. You can post questions, get feedback, get help from myself, and our members are sharing information with each other inside the group. Become a member, www.moveabroadandthrive.com. Let me give you the exact link. I think it's join. But when you get to the website, you will see a link that says sign in at the top right. And if you're not a member, it'll show you an option to join. But moveabroadandthrive.com/join will also get you straight to the page. Thank you for watching.